Hello, and this is a book review. Interesting ideas, favorite ideas from this book, The Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts. Let's see. First one is, we are always looking for enjoyment. But even when we are there, we are looking forward for more enjoyment. That's what keeps us moving. We're always looking forward, basically, to more enjoyment. From enjoyment to another enjoyment, that's what keeps us moving. We always look forward to another one, but it's never enough. Next one is, a stone is less subject to harm, but also is less prone to enjoyment. Vulnerability comes with the possible to enjoy. So, a stone, I like this analogy. A stone doesn't have any options, but if you're vulnerable, if you're open to experiences, only then you might experience full enjoyment. So it's either you close for everything or you open, but then you're vulnerable, but you can also enjoy. Next one is, worrying about the future makes the future and the present bad as well. So we always worry about the future, thinking about the future, what's going to happen. What's end up happening is also the future. If it's a bad situation, the future is bad. But even right now, we're making that present and the now bad as well. Next one is, we cannot define men, for example. All words are circular, which means they are just use more words. It's a philosophical idea, not the first time, but I like this idea that when we try to define and narrow down, let's say men, you always use more words. So there is like I think I'm gonna explain that in another one, but there is some things you cannot explain. They're just as it is. Next one is, it's only the now and that is important and cannot be explained through words. So it's similar. What is now? So it's only the now that is important, or we should care for, according to Watts. But we cannot explain. Same idea as here. It's hard to define. What is it now? What is reality exactly? What is this? We can't define it. Next one is, we cannot define everything without going in circles. Things such as sensations, God, time, and reality are well known, but hard to define. It's really hard to define all those ideas because we just use more words. But we all know what it means. We all know what it means, but we cannot define that with words. So that's all the same ideas here. That there is some things we cannot define, but we know. So as humans, unlike animals, we disassociate the body from the brain. We don't know when to stop eating, for example. What happens is that as humans, we stop, or we disassociated ourselves. Yeah, that's a good word. From our brain, so we became separate. For example, we lost the sense of when to stop eating. We just keep eating, even though there is a feeling that comes with a biological body. Animals has it. They know when to stop eating, but humans, for example, sometimes forget. They lost that control, that connection. We are all with all the calculations and planning, we lost all touch with our biological self. Same idea. We planning and thinking about the future and this and that, but we forgot to check what's going on with this body, with the physical self, biological physical self. So the work of the brain is to serve the present, not to ruminate and abstract the future. And I think it's really interesting and important that sometimes we ruminate and think too much about the future, but this is not the work. Again, according to Watts, not necessarily agreeing with this part, this specific one. I do think it's important to think about the future, and that's another work that is important for the brain. That's one of the possibilities the brain has, and for sure has some kind of useful utilities. But the work of the brain is to serve the present. If we ruminate too much, I do agree. If we do it too much, that's not good. Next one is memory is some sort of being in the present and feeling the present. So when we think of a memory or we remember something, it's some sort of being in that present. We can almost be in that present. Of course, it's not the same, but it's the same idea. Sometimes there are no separate I and mind present at the same time. They are the same. There is no me and the brain. There is no two separate. A lot of people think about two separate selves, and what he says is that there is no two separate. There is no I and the mind. It's all one. There is no separation. In times of happiness, the mind does not try to divide itself from experience, but in times of pain and agony, the mind tends to do so. That's really interesting. So when we're happy, the brain does not disassociate itself from what's going on, or from the mind. But in times of pain, the mind will disassociate himself from the pain. It's outside. It's not us. It's something else, but it's the same. Next one is running away from fear is fear, and you cannot combat fear with fear. It's something that he reiterated over and over again through the book. The fact that you cannot combat fire with fire and all that. And in this particular case, running away from fear, when you try to stop fear, is the fear itself, and we do not experience the fear. And we cannot combat fear with fear, because if you try to fear from fear, it doesn't work. Like try to combat fire with fire, doesn't work. Next one is the moment is what is in front of you right here, right now, without past and future. Simple as that. The moment is what's going on here without bringing the future or ruminating about the past, or bringing the past or ruminating about the future. Better. Next one is we dance in order to dance, not to be better at dancing. The dance itself is the point. We're not trying to. We enjoy the actual act of dancing. And what is it? We dance in order to dance, not to be better at dancing. Even though I do think we are becoming a little better at dancing, yeah, that's part of it. But I definitely agree about the fact that the act itself is also enjoyable. And some things are better just doing and not becoming better. All the doing is the point. Right, next one is nothing can ruin the moment more than watching yourself, whether you like it or not. That's a cool thing, and I saw that happening to me even sometimes. When we think about, am I joining this right now? Nothing can ruin the moment more than asking that question. It's amazing. Next one is we cannot simultaneously listen to the waves and check if we're enjoying listening to the wave. So that's the same idea. So if we try at the same time, see if we're enjoying the waves and enjoying the waves, we cannot do both things at the same time. It's either you do this or that. And again, it's the same idea, and I find it really interesting. Sometimes we should not contradict ourselves and try to go out of our ways. So that's one of his ideas throughout the book, is that we should not try to make ourselves better or try to get out of the way out of our ways. Got this right. But I wrote a side note even here. There is definitely a point in changing yourself. So we shouldn't do it. So I believe that there is a way to change ourselves and make ourselves better. So we should not try that, because we can stop. We cannot do that. And this is what if he claims that this is what we should do. We won't get better. And that's the last one here. Religion is trying to convey the idea of there is no I and me. Live life as one. So he claims that that's what religion is trying to convey. I guess part of it, I definitely agree that part of it is definitely has something to do with it, but to eliminate the separation of I and me. There is no I and me. There is only one. Live life as one, and don't try to disassociate yourself from yourself or I from the me. And this is it here. Overall, probably give this book 4 stars. I like it, but there is some parts I was not a big fan of. I guess it's a little short. It's a shorter book, which can be good and bad. But overall, I enjoyed that book. Thank you.